Hello viewers, once again it's me, Ewaenruwa Nomaren, and this is my channel, It Pays to Fear God. This is where we learn about God, His beloved Son, Jesus Christ, and their kingdom purpose, the three most important subjects that we can ever learn about, talk about, or discuss in the entire Holy Bible according to John chapter 17 verse 3. This is another episode of Verse Breakdown, and the verse that I want to break down for you viewers today is James chapter 1 verse 4, where James the apostle had stated, "But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing." When the Bible talks about patience, it's really talking about doing the will of God and letting it manifest itself. And what do I mean by that? People who do not do the will of God but are still praying to God and stuff, they are not considered patient. But people who do the will of God and let it manifest by the power of God are being patient. And an example of this is Abraham, because Abraham did his own part in God's plan. God set up a plan that I want to make a nation out of you to foreshadow the bigger nation that I'm going to make in the future, as St. Paul said in Romans chapter 15 verse 4 and 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 11. Abraham did his own part by complying with what God had set on the table, by of course teaching it to his children and believing in it and living his life accordingly. And therefore he was being patient. Jesus Christ had also been considered patient because, of course, he saw that God's will was for him to pay the ransom sacrifice and for him to therefore save the world, as of course he came down to save the world through the sacrifice. If in Matthew chapter 20 verse 28, Luke chapter 24 verse 47, chapter 19 verse 10, etc. And because of that, he did his own part in the mission, and therefore he was being patient because he did his part, and then he was going to end up waiting for the results. What was going to come out of the ransom sacrifice, which was of course the saving of mankind, a new religion, because Christianity was generally based on that, and all the other stuff that ended up happening because of that. He was patient because he was doing the will of God as he was waiting for it to manifest itself. And once we understand this, then places like Luke chapter 21 verse 19 make sense to us. In your patience possess ye your souls. And in Revelation chapter 13 verse 10, when the Bible was talking about how the righteous ones of God are going to wait for the last days to pass away, in the sense of for the process of the kingdom of God being fully established, the idea of wicked ones being weeded out of this world slowly, like the tares being put in bundles to be burnt. If we read Matthew chapter 13 from verses 24 to 30 and verses 38 to 43, because it's a gradual process. If we read Isaiah chapter 60 verse 22, Matthew chapter 13 and verses 31 and 32 with the parable of the mustard seed, etc. Because they do the will of God in the sense of they teach about it, they raise their families accordingly, the cup of cold water, if you read Matthew chapter 10 verse 42. Therefore, they are considered waiting for their works to manifest in the full establishment of God's kingdom. I hope we now understand what James chapter 1 verse 4 means. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. Most importantly, please try to subscribe, share this video, and click the notification bell if you have not already to be the first to come when we make future videos just like this. See you in that next video.